Okay, so this December I decided I'm going to start teaching a little more practical stuff about DOS rather than just doing, video games the whole freaking time and kind of showing you the fun side. We're going to start jumping in on the actual installation setup and configuration. Also, this might be a good configuration if you're really wanting to get into DOS and really wanting to learn it. So we're going to kind of get started here. But just letting you see what my process is for installing FreeDOS on a. This will apply to virtual machine, vintage computer, anything else. We're going to be using VirtualBox, so I should bring that up. Or actually, that's the first thing we're going to need is VirtualBox. Right now we're in Linux Mint, Virginia. It's actually the beginning of 2025, not the end. And of course, this computer is ancient. It's about 15 years old, so it's going to be really, really slow when it pulls this up. In the meantime, we're going to go to the website first, and we're going to download the latest ISO for FreeDOS and mess around with it a little bit. So right now we're loading two things at the same time. It's going to take a few minutes. So here's my kind of take. Why aren't we installing Windows? Well, first off, Windows, although it may be easier, in my opinion, the future of retro computing with machines that are 8088 to 80486 era is generally going to be in FreeDOS, or generally in DOS. Also, it just is a much better system in my humble opinion. So we're going to go over here. And yeah, I know I'm sharing probably too much of my desktop. All right, so right here we can go to the FreeDOS website and download FreeDOS 1.3, which is the latest edition as of January 2025. There's a little screenshot of it. Yeah, I know, not much to look at. So we're going to go download FreeDOS 1.3. So if we go here, the way we would download it, we do for real hardware or for classic hardware or for older hardware. I typically use the legacy CD for older hardware when I'm doing real, actual bone hardware like this compact next to me or my 486 machines. That's usually what I do. There's even a floppy edition that works with like the IBM PCXT and AT. There's USB if you have a USB drive that's bootable or a machine that'll let you boot it. I really do not want to tell you what eras of hardware are capable of that because there are people who are making efforts for like the 386, 486, even like the original IBM PCs to actually utilize a USB drive. But right now we're going to go ahead and do the legacy CD download. So you can see how comedically slow this is. Actually, it's not slow at all. It's going to be a download of about 227 megabytes. There's also a bonus CD here, which we can take a look at in a little bit. General setup that I would say this is going to probably run a lot like is going to be maybe a 386 SX to about a 486 DX266. So we're getting pretty accurate doing this on the Mac Mini. And the reason, again, why I chose to do a virtual machine instead of actual hardware is so then we can actually do this and me not have to destroy or create a new drive or do a bunch of fiddling with hardware to do, all this stuff. As much as I like to do a lot of hardware, I think we've done that a lot on this machine. I prefer to use Firefox for my browser. We're just going to go ahead and drop this to the desktop for right now so you guys can kind of see what I'm working with. And then we're going to close this out. And there we go. There's our legacy CD. I'm just going to do extract here. So that's all extracted to its own little folder right over there. And while that's going on, we're going to go to the software portal and we're going to go find VirtualBox. Okay, so on VirtualBox, it's going to take it a moment. It's still searching the repositories. We're going to do base version of VirtualBox over here, I believe. Here we go. We're going to use the system package. Which, yes, this is a slow as shit computer. This is my garage computer. Yeah, no big deal. It's going to have some dependencies, and then we're going to load that in. Now, I'd suggest you also could probably download this from the VirtualBox website, which will give you the more current version. But since we're doing Windows 3.1 and we're not really going to do anything super heavy on this computer, I don't mind using the older version. This also might be a good thing to kind of show you how to configure a Windows Workgroups 3.11 VirtualBox on Linux. So here we are. We're installing VirtualBox. We've got our ISO files over here. We can even open the folder while that's installing and take a look. So we'll sit here and wait for a minute while that pops up. Come on. Come on. Come on. Here we go. And then we got the legacy ISO and the boot.image in there. I'm not going to bother with the bonus CD this time because this just sort of get you a base install. Readme.txt, all that. This is the main file we're going to need is this one here with the FreeDOS. If you were to do this on a real computer like I do using one of those newer virtualization programs, you know, something kind of like, I don't know, like say if you were to use your virtualization program, something kind of like, you know, if you're using it on a real computer. I know I'm mincing my words here because this is totally off the cuff and unscripted. If we're totally using that on real hardware, you'd burn this to a CD-ROM, and then you'd stick that CD-ROM in the computer, hit C upon boot, and then when it says insert your boot disk, hit space, just hit space, and then you hear the whole and your CD-ROM drive would start spinning up and start loading the disk. And yes, you can boot from CD on a 386 or 486. You just need a dynamic drive overlay that offers that support. The one I use is usually Seagate Disk Manager or Western Digital Data Lifeguard Utilities to install it. It's the same one. It's the OnTrack 9 is really what I use if I go with the generic. So here we go. We've got it. It's still installing right now. It's going to take it a few moments. So yeah, while we're waiting, I'm probably going to go ahead and pause this, and then we'll jump back in, and I'm going to build my new. Actually, no. Well, yeah, we're going to wait a little bit, and then I'll jump back in and go to my new scene after that. Once we get it installed, after we've gone over how it's done. Okay, so now we have VirtualBox installed, which took a few minutes because the computer's kind of slow, and we're doing it on there. That's just the screenshot. That's not the actual program. We're going to do launch. We're going to close this out to free up some memory. And we're going to get started with this fun stuff. So here we go. This is the VirtualBox window. This is basically a virtual machine. So what we're going to do here is we're going to create a FreeDOS virtual machine here. So we're going to do create new. And then we're going to call this one FreeDOS 1.3. Let's type other, version DOS. We're going to go next. And then recommended memory size, 32 megabytes. We have 16 gigabytes of RAM in this computer, so, you know, that's not a whole lot, and that's about right. We're going to create a virtual hard disk. And we're going to go ahead. You can create a VDI. I'm going to go with a VHD since that seems to be one of the more standard ones. Normally I just go with a VirtualBox image, but we're going to do a VHD just in case I do some other playing around with stuff. Maybe we'll see if we can image a hard drive with a working virtual DOS installation. So we're going to hit that. I'm probably going to go ahead and make it a, since we're going to keep this system simple. Actually, you know what? I think FreeDOS can handle dynamically allocated drives. Most of the time when I do DOS install, I'll usually do like a fixed size, and then I'll usually go with the recommended size. I think we can waste a gigabyte on this, so I'm going to go 115.11, and then we're going to create. And then that's what we've got now. So now we have a virtual machine here for FreeDOS, but we're not quite done yet. I'm going to go up here, and do the settings for it. And this allows us to edit our hardware and kind of set our settings for FreeDOS here. So we have it type other advanced. We can pick snapshots and things like that. Description. I can write in here. You can add a description to it. So this would be a 4 we'll just call it i486 with 32 megabytes of RAM and SVGA sound blaster. That kind of thing, because that would be about what I'm trying to emulate. Disk encryption, of course, you don't want to use that at all. This is DOS, doesn't use disk encryption. As you can see, here's our boot order floppy optical hard disk. That's absolutely perfect. If you wanted to, you could probably add Pixie boot networking to it, but I wouldn't suggest it. P2X3 and ICH9. ICH9 is for EFI machines. P2X3 emulates a Pentium 2, but we're going to treat it like a 486. You can use EFI, you can use hardware clock, you can use enable IO API-C. We're going to go with a PS2 mouse for processor. We're just doing one CPU, execution cap, no PAE and NX, and no enable trusted and all that other crap that you need for like Windows 7 or something like that. Pure virtualization interface, default. Hardware virtualization, enable nested paging, kind of stuff. These are mostly the defaults. Here you can change your memory size, video RAM. Video RAM, I'm probably going to drop down to 2 megabytes. And then monitor count, of course, is 1. Scale factor for monitor is 100. VirtualBox VGA. You can also enable 3D acceleration. Maybe we'll play with that later on something. For storage, again, we have our 1.05 gigabyte hard drive. We have our CD-ROM. We have our floppy drive. Here you can actually throw the disk into the drive too by going up here and then doing choose a disk file. We're going to choose FreeDOS 1.3 on the desktop. I don't know why it's not selecting that, so I'm going to go ahead and go back over here. Choose a disk file again. There should be one in FreeDOS 1.3. What the heck? We'll go back here. We'll go to desktop. FD3. There we go. That's our ISO file. And then I'm going to kind of put that there for audio. We have Pulse Audio. It's emulating a Sound Blaster 16. For network, I'm going to enable network adapter. We'll just use the defaults for that. You can do advanced stuff down here if you want. I'm just going to do PCNet fast, AM79C973. All standard stuff. I think it's any 2000 compatible, so it'll just work out of the box to make it simple. Enable serial port, COM1, all that. You can set up USB. We're not using USB. This is DOS. I'll show you a little more about share folders in a while because you can actually map in folders into certain OSs to act as an actual folder to install software, but we'll talk about that later. And then user interface, just going to leave it the same way. Show in full screen, seamless. I'm going to go ahead and put the mini toolbar show at the top of the screen. Just makes it a lot easier. And now that we've saved our settings, I'm going to launch it. So we're going to launch into this. Here we go. It's checking there. It's booting into the operating system. Yes, I know this is going to be very, very, very slow. Try a different method, installation method. Well, I'm sure we can install on here. Anyway, I'm going to pause for a minute and we're going to create a new view and I'm going to show you how you can still install using FreeDOS Legacy on here. Okay, so now we're in the FreeDOS prompt right here. As it says 1.3. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to do fdisk. And then I'm going to do full support for this. I'm going to create create DOS partition or logical DOS drive, create primary DOS partition. Yes, I plan to use the full size. DOS partition created, as you can see, it's 1014 and FAT32. I'm going to leave it FAT32. Typically, my rule of thumb with DOS is I'll use FAT16 with drives up to 8 gigabytes if I'm just using a single drive, and I'll split them up into 4 partitions of like 2.1 gig each. But if I'm going to go with, large hard drive support or a single drive setup like this, I'll just go ahead and use one partition and just do everything on that. Because we're not going to load this up with a whole bunch of games. We're going to just, install what's there. And there's no way that FreeDOS is going to use up all this space, even if I go fully equipped. So we're going to exit out. We're going to set the active partition. You must do this in FDisk to 1, and that is now active. And using FDisk, we hit escape to continue. And then we can verify by displaying the partition information. There we go. We got drive C, partition 1, status A, primary DOS, 1014 megabytes. System is FAT32, and the usage is 100% of the disk. So now we're going to hit escape and get out of here. And then we're going to escape again to reboot the system, which I did a little fast. And then we're going to close this out. Okay, so now we're going to do a reboot of the machine. So you go up to machine up here and we do reset. The host key is actually host.r, which is the left alt key. So we'll just hit left alt R, and that should reboot the machine. Or maybe it's left control. Yeah, and there we go. It says, do you want to reset? It shows this message again, reset. There we go. Now we're rebooting our virtual host. And we're going to I think I'm going to just center this in here because it's going to get a little bigger over time. So right now, as we're going, as we're going in here and gathering it, and of course it always cuts off my DOS prompt, we're going to do format // All right, format // it's been a while since I've done this. Why, yes. And then OS disk, and there we go. Now it's formatted. Now we're going to go :, and then we're going to do setup, ls, and then we're going to dir. All right, I need to get out of there. FDOS x86. We're going to keep forgetting I'm not in Linux because I've been using Linux a bunch. Setup, we're going to go to setup.bat right here. And then we're going to go there. Are you ready to install? Yes, I am. Transfer new configuration files to drive C. This is another way you can install FreeDOS. I'm going in my own direction because I'm a bit more experienced on this. And it says a developer embedded. You can play your favorite games on FreeDOS, and there are a lot of great classic games to play. So this is kind of like a lightweight installation, a way you can do it if it fails like this. We may do another install using the other non-legacy install because that's what's mainly meant for virtual machines. But it really shouldn't make any freaking difference either way. So as you can see, it does the same thing Windows does. I'm just going to install the full operating system on here, and we're going to kind of go through the different things you can do in FreeDOS to set the system up. There we go. As you can see, it's showing all the usual stuff while it's installing. I'm going to go ahead and make this bigger again. We're going to just kind of drag it there. There we go. Do you want to reboot now? Yeah, so what we're going to do now is we're going to take my devices, we're going to take my disk out of here, and then we're going to do yes, and install, and then we're going to reboot, and it should reboot. And that's a legacy installer too. I mean, this is what I use. So now we're going to talk about the operating options when you first load FreeDOS. This is usually the best one to use for most general use. No EMS, max RAM free. Gem 386, expanded memory is the next one I like to use. FreeDOS low with some drivers, that's your safe mode. So like if you're troubleshooting a problem with FreeDOS. You can often use that. And then if things are really boogered up, you can use emergency mode. I have yet to use a boot disk with FreeDOS. It's actually been pretty reliable for me. So, yeah, HiMemX is your high memory driver. It does not support any of that integration stuff, unfortunately. And here we are. We have a network setup here, I guess. You know, that's one of the things we can do here to start off with is you have your sort of loop back adapter stuff. Let's see if we can go over here and go ahead and see if we can get on the internet. Oh, we don't have any of that. So let's take a look. So we just got the base FreeDOS system here. Let's reinsert the disk. We're going to do we're going to go back to our optical drives. We're going to reselect FreeDOS Legacy, and then we're going to go then we're going to go to FDimples. So FDimples is our installation program for FreeDOS. Basically allows us to select stuff that's on there. We have slicers on there. Some of the things I like to usually use on here is first off, you have PGME, which is multi-application launcher. We'll play with that later. You have all your standalone stuff. I usually install gzip, p7zip, unzip, and zip. Those usually work the best for me. This basically allows me to unzip the 7.2a files because I have some 7-zip files. FreeDOS base, this is probably going to be fully full. As you can see, it shows you the name of the package and what it does down there and what you can do with it. Oh, let's scoot up. SHSUCEX, that's a pretty useful thing that you can use. Sample configuration files. These would be for, sample autoexec and config.sys. We'll talk more about that. Device drivers, cache reads for a drive. We'll have that. DOS long file name support's always great, especially if you're using like mid-90s DOS emulators on this, like Nesticle or whatever. We might play with that a little bit. We have a few other things. I'm not going to use the NTFS thing. You have spoolers. You have all that stuff. Editors. Let's see here. Let's see what we've got for editors already installed. Pico, TDE, Vim, games. We're just going to install all of them because it's got a whole bunch of games that come with it, like Tetris game, Ball of Terror, a couple different versions of Doom, the classic Eliza that everybody claims like the original AI. You got a bunch of stuff like that. Networking, we're going to put in MTCP terminal and wget because I use a lot of this network stuff. Sound tools, all of them. Unix-like for utilities, we're going to kind of Unix-like tools. I'm going to go through here. I don't think we're really going to play with those very much. And then utilities, we're going to go through here. Bootfix, callsum, CD-ROM, 2UI, dialog, dog. DOS 32A is something we'll need for games. Some kind of look through. GNU fonts, because you can change the text mode fonts on the screen, kind of like you could do with early Linux. I'm going to kind of just look through here. We don't need slowdown or any of that stuff. Which fat, zero fill. So we're going to kind of look through there. Networking. I'm pretty sure there's some other stuff on here. Oh yeah, applications, archivers, FreeDOS, device drivers, editors, games, networking, sound tools, utilities. So we don't really see internet on here yet. And I'll kind of walk you through that a little bit, some of the skills needed for DOS. So we got MTCP on here, and here's what it's like to install those. Once you picked all your files, it does the installation process, and here we go through it. It's installing Boom right now, which is all big stuff. Here we go. So we're loading all the files for FreeDOM. Yeah, and that's kind of what we're doing. We're just installing all these files onto FreeDOS. And while we're at it in the background, maybe I'll go to FreeDOS and I'll download their accessory file boot thing so we can install some other stuff on here. Because it's been split up between two CDs because the intention is to have it do that faster encoding preset. Whatever. It's still recording. All right, so we're going to go here. Yeah, freedos.org. So while that's installing, I'm going to do some stuff in the background. Since I'm in Firefox right now. Yeah, how about this for a 10-year-old Linux PC? So we're going to go download FreeDOS. We're going to scroll down here. We're going to scroll up here. Scroll down here for older hardware. We're going to do the bonus CD. And then while that's downloading, we're going to kind of pop back in the video over here. And there we go. It's all done. Let's test some stuff. Games. Boom. So we're going to test a game real quick. So in here, we've got a setup, which is going to be like our Allegro setup. So we're going to hit auto detect, test. So we're going to test some stuff in here. Save changes and exit. So we're in Boom now, and we're testing that. I'm going to test out Boom real quick. We're just going to see if stuff works. It's not going to be perfect. I'm going to kind of show you how to fix stuff on this. I'm kind of doing this convoluted like this just to show you what can be done. I mean, there we go. It doesn't run very well. I mean, we're running like we're on a freaking 486 DX 25 or something. Yeah, but it works. So we have working software. So there we go. We have a working Boom install in FreeDOS on here. You can pick up your health and other stuff and blow some things up. So now we're gonna hit that. It's a little latent because it's slow. And we have to hit yes to quit, and we have to hold on to Y to do it. There we go. So it kind of shows you the install process, or one of them, for installing FreeDOS in a legacy machine. A little more convoluted type install, I guess you could say. Might do this on some actual hardware even, just to kind of show it off at some point. But I'm just kind of showing you skills. I mean, this is kind of messily done and off the cuff and right off the bat. The regular installer will kind of go through that as well and take a look at it as well. But right now we're going to go to the bonus CD because I'm trying to show you the most janky, bare bones type setup processes that you could go through so you can kind of see a little bit of everything. Typically, FreeDOS uses a menu, which should be pretty easy to deal with. Replace none. No, I'm replacing nothing. I'm trying to get the bonus CD. Extraction not performed. Okay, we'll drag this out here, close that out. After the file is done extracting. Oh, it's not performed. Here we go. We're just removing that bonus CD. There we go. I'll drag the bonus CD into the folder. Now we're going to go here, optical drives, choose a disk file, and then we're going to go to bonus right there. And then we're going to go to D, C, F dimples. And now we can see there's other stuff that we can add on here too, like boot tools. development, DJPP, editors, games, graphical networking, utilities, Linux, sound, networking has a lot more stuff. So we're going to add a collection of curl, dillo, ewall, packet drivers for all these different tools. I'm just going to do all the networking stuff. And then for graphical desktops, we might play with some of those later, but I'm going to probably not mess with those right now. We're going to look at utilities. I don't really use Clam antivirus very much. Yeah, so here we go. And then more applications, PGME, archivers. We have a few more of those. Don't need them. FreeDOS base. We're going to do the, we're going to skip all those. And then we're just going to go here to, okay. And then we're going to hit that and install our crap. And this should set up all our networking, or at least get us somewhere going with the networking stuff. This also installs links and everything else as well. So already, as you can see, we've got a lot going on with FreeDOS on this machine. Yeah, so there we are. We're ripping through. It's installing Dillo and some other browsers. We might explore Dillo, but I don't really use it. I usually use Lynx. That's usually my favorite browser, not LYNX, but LINKS. So we'll explore Lynx a little bit, and we'll talk a bit about that browser maybe in another video. We'll probably get stuff. But this is me just setting up our virtual machine here. Let's take a look at some stuff. Let's go to net. So let's see here. Links, Pico, VMS mount, C/. We're going to take a look. Now we have utils, apps, FreeDOS. As you can see, we have app info, bin, drivers. So let's see E1000 packet. Let's see if that works. Let's see if this works. We'll do E100pkt.com 0x60. All right, so let's see here. Unload, I install ePacket. Let's go ahead and just reboot real quick and see what happens. It's going to reboot our virtual machine. We're going to hit this again. We're going to see if we pull an IP address. There we go. Are we pulling anything? No, we're not. So the next thing we need to do is C/FreeDOS. And then we need to go to bin and then edit net dot, I think. There's a net.bat file in here somewhere. Let's see. So we're going to go in there, fast help, graphics online, setlang, what is C/. If we look here, we got FD auto, command util C net. We're going to take a look. So what I'm going to go back here, since we need to find out where the net batch file is that loads it, we're going to go do edit or FD auto, or actually first thing we're going to do is go dir. So you can see FD auto is our version of autoexec.bat if I go right here. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and go edit FD auto. And it's not case sensitive because this is DOS. So we're going to take a look at this. This is the batch file that launches when we go through here. One of the last things that we go through in here is the network support part of the file. No network. FD assist. Welcome.bat. So that's the assistant. And then final, if exists, fdnet.bat. And that is found in our DOS directory. So FreeDOS bin fdnet.bat. Now we need to go to FreeDOS drivers, and we need to experiment a little. So let's go ahead and try the CE100 PKT, LS, or DR. Yeah, you can tell I've been using Linux way too much lately. E100 PKT, let's try that. E100 PKT /I 0x60. Let's see if that works. See if that works. Non-null. Let's see if networking works. So we're going to try links real quick. So we're going to configure through DHCP. I know it's a loopback adapter. Here we are. We're in links. You got two ways you can run it. I could run it using the mouse. I'm not going to. I'm just going to use the keys because I want to show people what this is like. Let's see if Google works. Yeah, so it's working with Google. So loopback usually works in here. Typically, you'll need to go and edit things like. So we have internet and FreeDOS already. So networking is already working. We're going to just exit out. You really want to exit links? Yes. So I think in the next session, we're going to kind of probably tune and tweak some stuff, and I'm going to kind of introduce you to some internet stuff for DOS with FreeDOS. Anyway, this is creepingnet signing out. I will see you in the next video.